This Baptist Health 200 betting picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code RACESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today we are talking trucks. Yes, it is the Truck Series back after a long hiatus, and we're back for the playoffs and all kinds of great stuff going on. Excited to talk trucks, but it just like I said, it feels like forever that we've done this.
Who knew that the Truck Series was sanctioned by Formula One, Rod? They are back. The last time they raced October 4th. Been quite a few weeks. Grant Enfinger, he's just been sitting back, locked into the playoffs for 3 weeks now, Rod. And he's entering this race with nothing to worry about as he's on his way to Phoenix.
Indeed, yeah. So now here we sit, and we're trying to punch another ticket into the next round of the playoffs. All three series, like we said, are in full swing on this track this weekend, so lots of racing action. This truck race is part of a doubleheader Saturday, so therefore you don't have to worry about trying to get this one in a little early because you got plenty of time to go ahead and load up on these bets. But yeah, I mean, we've had some folks already in the Discord swiping up some good deals that were left over this morning. I'll explain later, but this is why you got to be in the Discord.
This is why you got to be in the Discord, Rod, because you were dropping in. You're like you were just trying to see if somebody could double check you, and you're like, wait a minute, is this even right? And then you're like, oh shit, go get it before it changes. Some people scooped it up, and it's changed already. So another reason, sg.pn/Discord. Get over there. Look, it's a conversation all week long about all the races, all the stuff going on, all the news, all of that stuff, all combined into one place with people who, it's not like football. You don't just have a group of buddies that you're going to text and talk about football and this and that, and everybody knows what's going on, right? Like, you got to find your racing friends. We have that over there for you, Rob.
Yeah, and again, it's just a matter of I wanted to get it fact-checked because I honestly was like, I'm scrolling through this thinking this can't be right, and next thing you know, it was right. So thank you to everybody that fact-checked. Shandy was in there that helped out as well. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of good people in there. Andrew checking in, finished the Xfinity show moments ago. Perfect timing. Jessica saying good afternoon. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Andrew. What is Boji Joe? Since Netflix has finally put a movie in their paid subscribers to watch, and this race is in me, I challenge Rod to incorporate a sacrifice or Scarface quote in this episode. Jesus Christ. You can actually implore me to get things right in the first place. But Jessica saying trucks, Laura saying time flies, TK get the spinning wheel emoji. I'm not quite sure what that is.
I was wondering if it was a comment loading, but I think that was his comment. So
yeah, love
it. Hey, TK.
Beautiful. All right. So again, we want to thank you all for listening very much to this show, as you always do, and the support that you give us. The bosses are definitely noticing. We're about to have our year-end review of the show, and so we're appreciating all of you who are reaching out with what you like the best about this show. And yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to take those comments into our bosses meeting. But the quickest and easiest way to show that you support this show is a 5-star rating. So go ahead and throw us one of those on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your shows downloaded to you and everything like that. Just make sure you give us 5 stars. We'll love you forever. World Series kicking off Friday. The MLB Gambling Podcast is hosting a contest. It's free to enter. You can head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/World Series to enter. $150 SGPN gift card is up for grabs. Make sure you get in on that. Said Cody, it is the Baptist Health 200 from the Homestead-Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida. Truck racing at its finest. We just, like I said, we've enjoyed truck racing all year long because it's been some of the most competitive, but it's also been the most chalky too. That's the hard part about it.
Yeah, it has, right. But yeah, no, I'm very excited, and man, Homestead is we've kind of talked about it all week, but this is a really good track. It's really exciting. The racing is great. These trucks are going to be on edge. You're going to be slipping. It's a 1.5 mile track, but they're going to be slipping and sliding around this track. And to watch those trucks do it and watch the drivers from the Truck Series do it always adds that extra element of excitement.
Indeed. All right, we are set for 134 laps around this 1.5 mile paved track for 201 miles. Cody, there was news earlier that we talked about as far as a full-time truck driver next season, but he will be trying to make his way into this, right? So who else is going to be with our newest truck driver?
Yes, Rod. We have 34 entries, so everybody will make this race. William Swalich is back in the number 1 truck for Tricon. Nathan Bird is going to be in the 02 truck. Marco Andretti is back in the 04. Connor Mosak is making his return in the number 7 truck. Frankie Muniz is going to be in this one in the 22. That is a Rayum Brothers truck, which is who he's going to be driving for full-time next season. Connor Daly making a return as well to the 44 truck. Connor Jones in the 66. Boy, lots of Connors in this one, Rod. Connor Zilich is in the 75 truck. This is there's been some talk about this, right? He's made his other starts in the 7 truck for Spire. This is the 75 truck. It's Henderson Motorsports. You're like, who the fuck is that? But 75 is the truck that Parker Kligerman has driven for years, and is, they kind of pick and choose their spots where they're going to go, right? They don't go to every race, but when they do go to tracks, they generally come pretty prepared. So we'll talk about Zilich a little bit later, Rod. Justin Mondecki is back in the 46. Corey Day, also the sprint car driver, he's going to be back in the 91 truck for McAnally Hilgeman. That pretty much rounds out the entry list.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually seeing Frankie Muniz again. I want to see him actually finish a race this year. Just so I love the kid for what he's trying to do, and that he's not trying to use his celebrity to muscle his way into a ride. He's literally just trying to earn himself a way in the right way. So I love that. Laura says 4 Connors, LOL. How about Sarah Connor? Is she in the truck too? We might as well throw it.
Never know, Rod.
I don't know either. But yeah, so look, since there's really no other real news to talk about right now, I say we probably just get into the bets and start laying out this card and not keep people waiting like the trucks have all month long.
We have been waiting a long time. Yeah, it has been a slow news day, Rod. There really isn't any news. So yeah, I say we just jump right into it. Two things I wanted to mention super quick. John Force is going to be attending the NHRA races next week in Vegas, which is great news. Of course, if you have followed that at all, the famous drag racer, right? He was in a bad crash a couple of months ago at this point. So good to see him back at the track. I know he'd been sent home, but still kind of in care after all of that. And then also it's been 20 years, Rod, today since the Hendrick plane crash on the way to Martinsville. Very sad day for the sport. Of course, Rick Hendrick lost his son, his brother, his nieces. They lost Randy Dorton, and there was 10 people in total on the plane. I know there's a DuPont executive, some other people as well. So that was a very sad day in the sport. Of course, the news kind of broke on the TV with like 30 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson's leading and ends up winning the race. They tell him afterwards, don't celebrate. Let's get all 4 cars to pit road. and then that's when they ended up telling the drivers. So sad day for Hendrick Motorsports, and I think has probably changed the direction of Hendrick Motorsports over the years. Luckily, team is still thriving and moving on, but very dark day in NASCAR history.
Indeed. Yeah. You always hate those type of news stories that break. I know even in the basketball world, when Kobe's plane crashed, it was a tragic day as well. So, yep, we were remembering fondly the memories of all those involved and what they've done for the sport ever since. But we will move on and give you our betting cards for this Baptist Health 200 Truck Series race. But I do want to tell you first about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports: NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, Formula One, and so much more. Boostober is upon us, which means you're getting a spooky amount of profit boosts and so much more. And with the NBA tipping off, every NBA Pick'em entry from now until the 27th will be boosted. You can use specials and boost on all flexed entries. Tomorrow, we're loading you up with some of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays for the race, so you might as well get over there and get on that while the getting is good. Sign up in the meantime with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to claim that special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. As we begin to set up our card, Cody, who is the first driver that we are looking at, or drivers, I guess, for this race?
We are going to look at drivers, Rod, because it's going to be a head-to-head. I am on a train that is a little scary to be on this week, Rod, but I'm going to ride it throughout this episode. That is the Stuart Friesen train. I'm all over Stuart Friesen this week. As Rod, for those of you listening on the audio versions, Rod with a big grimace to his face. But I believe in Friesen this week, Rod, and I believe in him over William Sawalich at -110. They're matched up over on Bet365, also available on Caesars, -115. I would take that as well. Stuart Friesen, Rod, has been pretty good here. 6th place last season, 3rd place 2 seasons ago, 14th, 11th, 4th, 7th place. Those are his last 6 starts. 7 career starts here. First one was like a 29th place finish. So, but that's 4 top 7 finishes over the last 6 races here. Pretty solid on this track type. Also, go to the Cup Series and think about, who do we talk about when it comes to this race, Rod? We talk about Kyle Larson, dirt track driver. We talk about Tyler Reddick, dirt track driver. We talk about Christopher Bell, dirt track driver. Do you see where I'm going with this? This type of track plays into the favor of the dirt track drivers, and Stuart Friesen is one of those guys. He races just about as much as Kyle Larson does, just with a little less publicity, right? He's all over the place throughout the week. Him and his wife racing their modifieds all over the place. And so he's been pretty solid here. Now, I know we look at Stuart Friesen and we think, boy, it's been a rough season. Nothing has gone his way. Nothing's been great. And I will say, a lot of bad finishes, right? Doesn't make the playoffs. That was very disappointing. So in the Truck Series, it's really tough because obviously we've had a lot of time off. It's hard to go back and just look at 1.5 mile comp tracks because we don't have a lot of comp tracks. There's been a few here and there, but it's more in the Truck Series, an entire body of work is how I generally look at it. So you go back and you look, he's had some good runs lately. 9th at Bristol, 7th at Pocono, 11th at Nashville, 8th at Gateway, 2nd at Charlotte, comparable track, right? 10th at North Wilkesboro, 14th at Darlington. All those finishes I just listed off, those are only in the last 12 races. He's actually started trending up a little more lately. Now there's still some bad ones in there, right? Talladega was a bad finish. It's bad, it's a wreck fest. We know how that goes. But he's been solid. Now I look back over the full season, 6 races they've gone head to head. It's 3-3. Sawalich has 3 wins. Friesen has 3 wins. So it is split right down the middle. But on the back of things, Friesen's won the last 2 head to heads. You do like to see that. Sawalich doesn't have too many Truck Series starts. And I'm trying to remember, did you talk about Sawalich on the betting episode at all, Rod? Or
No.
Are you going to talk about it? Okay, so you're going to talk about him tomorrow on the Xfinity Series DFS episode. And we also talked about this with Zilich. There's a big difference in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, especially on these young guys, right? So Sawalich has had a few starts, 21st at Bristol, 26th at Martinsville, 12th at IRP, 22nd at Richmond, 14th at Milwaukee, 11th at Bristol, 27th at Talladega. Nothing super impressive in his starts, even though he's been in that one truck that's a sort of all-star truck, right? It should be the same truck Corey Heim's in. It hasn't been that good unless you got the Cup guys in it. But he has, as Boji Joe points out here in the comments, small tracks. It is all small tracks besides Talladega. But he doesn't have any starts on bigger tracks outside of Talladega on these 1.5 miles. So I think that's going to go against him a little bit. Stewart's been really good here. And I'm really leaning into Stewart this week. I think he's going to have a good weekend, and I found a lot of good ways to bet on him, which can be scary, but the other ways are going to pay off really well if it does work. And so if it doesn't, that's okay. But I believe in Friesen a lot more. I think that he can have a good finish. I don't think that Swalich is really going to be, I think Swalich is going to be 20th place all day long. I think Friesen's going to be better than that. So give me Friesen over Swalich.
Yeah, it's funny because in the Discord, somebody was saying that I'm probably going to have Friesen top 5 in my betting episode, and guess what? Cody had him in there before anybody could get there. So, but I wasn't going to be on Friesen anyways. It's just
yeah. JDK was like, "I'll bet you an Applebee's dinner there. Rod has Friesen top 5," and I go, "Oh, what time are we going to dinner?" Because yes, I did. I created the document. Actually, this was only outrights were out at the time. Created the document all where Friesen was on the outrights, and I said I'm going to want his top 5, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Put that in the doc, send it over to you. And then you actually filled out the rest of the bets before I got back to it. But I wanted to make sure it was claimed. That's how much I love Friesen this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little scared off by Friesen. He's my favorite Canadian that's actually Canadian. And yes, Miami is very far from Canada. I do agree with you, Boji Joe, but still. And a much different climate too, by the way. So, but I'm sure he's used to United States climate by now. It's been long enough for him. So, all right, I'm going to start with a head-to-head for my first bet as well. I am going to take Rajah Caruth, and I'm going to put him. He's paired up with Caden Honeycutt at -110. And look, this is actually going to be closer than you think it is, to be honest with you, because if you look at what Caden Honeycutt has done so far this season, he's done incredibly well for himself at 1.5 mile tracks. He was 4th place at Vegas earlier in the season, 7th place at Charlotte. He turned around and finished 4th place at Kansas again in the spring, or in the fall rather. So really good for Caden Honeycutt. Can't even fault him for being in this matchup with Rajah Caruth. However, his one start here on this track resulted in a 27th place finish. Granted, that was, of course, in the 30 truck. That wasn't anywhere near where he's at right now in this Nice equipment, which we know is much better than most of the equipment that's not one of the big, powerful, former KBM trucks or all the Thor Sport trucks that are out there. So still, Caden Honeycutt does relatively well. But I will say, I was impressed, obviously, with Rajah Caruth. He came out and started on the pole in Vegas and actually won Vegas, which was his best 1.5 mile finish, obviously, this season. But you look at that 7th place finish at Kansas. I know that didn't beat Caden Honeycutt, but Rajah Caruth is the full-time truck driver here. Caden Honeycutt is not. He's just in here making some starts here and there. So I'm still giving the edge to the full-time truck driver in this instance, especially given the fact that Rajah Caruth has come off of 3 top 10 finishes, 2 top 5 finishes, and 1 top 3 finish in his last 3 races. He finished 3rd at Bristol, 7th at Kansas, 4th at Talladega, 3 different track disciplines, 3 good finishes. He did finish 4th at Nashville as well earlier in the season. 13th place at Kansas earlier in the year. That was a tough one for him there. And then at Charlotte, it was a 16th place finish, but he did start 4th on this one. So look, I'm giving the nod to him and the fact that Rajah Caruth has 1 career start in the 24 machine in the Truck Series, and he finished 8th in that particular race. So he drove less than stellar equipment to an 8th place finish, whereas Caden Honeycutt couldn't elevate his equipment. Like I said, I think Rajah Caruth has done well. The fact that he won at Las Vegas on 1.5 miles gives that team a lot of momentum heading into this weekend. So I'm going to continue to just be on Caruth, and Caruth over Honeycutt. Honeycutt's the favorite at -120. So I'm going to take Caruth at -110 for this.
Yeah, I was interested to see that Honeycutt was the favorite, and he's definitely flashed on the 1.5 miles a little bit. But yeah, I'm all over Caruth. I've got more bets on Caruth later. You've got more bets on Caruth later, so we'll keep talking about him. But he's another driver I like a lot this week.
Indeed. All right, where are we going next?
Next up for me, Rod, I'm going to go to Ben Rhodes top 5 at 4-1. Top 5 market, interesting this week. Usually I've got like a bunch of top 5s I love. Only had 2 this week, kind of both just longer shots. The short odds just aren't great, so kind of staying away from it too much. But Ben Rhodes, very capable of getting this done. Obviously, each and every week we know that Ben Rhodes can jump up and have a good day. He can also not have a good days, but at this number, you like that for Ben Rhodes. Second place last season, that is inside the top 5, Rod. 6th place in 2022, not inside the top 5, but very close to it. Had a couple of bad races lately, but 9th at Milwaukee, 7th at Richmond, 5th at Charlotte, 7th at Gateway, 7th at Nashville, all somewhat recently for Ben Rhodes. So he's capable of getting those good finishes. Bounced from the playoffs early this year. That's uncharacteristic. We don't usually see that from him, but no pressure now. Just go out, have your type of race, do good. And Ben Rhodes just pops up and does random things at random times. And he's been good here in the past. He's been good at the 1.5 miles in spurts, right? It's been a little bit up and down for sure, but he's shown the ability to get the good finishes. We know that he can do it. So give me Ben Rhodes top 5 at 4-1.
The number is the only part of this that I really feel comfortable with, because I remember I took a dive on Ben Rhodes a couple of weeks ago, and it's so difficult. A lot like Friesen, right? Where you expect big things out of these drivers, and then next thing you know, it's like, it's at the end of the day, you don't get the finish you expected from them. So, I mean, I like this because I like Ben Rhodes, and I know that he's a talented driver. You know that he's capable of a top 5 finish. So 4-1 seems like a misprice, even as badly as he's been doing lately.
Yeah, and I don't even know that like misprice is necessarily right. It's just this is where he needs to be priced for you to bet it, right? You're not going to take this if it's a lesser price, but at this price, he's much more capable of getting it done. And like you look at some of the people around him, Taylor Gray's a little bit shorter. Like I love Taylor, but I don't know. Tyler Ankrum, William Swalich, absolutely not. Dean Thompson, I could definitely make a case for, but I trust Ben Rhodes a lot more than Dean Thompson. Connor Mosack, like you kind of look at the people around him and the odds, and it's like Ben Rhodes is clearly the guy you would want in this number range, and the guy that you trust and know has that upside, where Ben Rhodes, could come out and just run. He's a lot like Joey Logano. He could come out and run 20th this week, Rod, and it wouldn't be that shocking. But he could also start on the pole and lead a majority of this race and win, and it wouldn't be that crazy. Like his odds are bigger, yes, but you wouldn't be super shocked by it because he's just capable of getting it done. So I like Ben Rhodes.
Indeed. Well, I trust Dean Cain more than I trust Dean Thompson this week, so we'll go there. Speaking of misprice, if you were in the Discord earlier, Caesars had Lane Riggs as a top 5 truck at plus 270. They had his top 3 number at plus 190. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. I went to the Discord to ask for help because I wanted to make sure that I was right. I got screenshots that backed it up for Lane Riggs as a top 5 truck at plus 270, whereas top 3 number was shorter than that. Well, guess what? They fixed it. And now Lane Riggs is at plus 140. But I'm gonna give you the Bet US number on this one. So Bet US is giving him as a top 5 truck at plus 140. I'm still gonna take it. It's still a pretty decent top 5 number for a guy who more than likely is going to end up in the top 5. This dude has found his groove. 2nd place at Kansas, 1 Bristol, 1 Martinsville, top 5 at Richmond, top 5 at IRP, top 5 at Gateway, top 3 at North Wilkesboro. Like there has been finish after finish after finish for Lane Riggs, and I think that's going to continue. Obviously, no career starts at this track because he's so damn new that he hasn't actually had a chance to be at Miami when it counts. So I can't really judge there. But, again, just based off of recency and based off of what he's done with that truck over the last several weeks, over several different track styles, I don't know how you can't jump on Lane Riggs as a top 5 truck this week, because you're just asking for a top 5. That's all you're asking. I'm not trying to ladder it up to top 3, which is now a better number than the top 5 number. But I really do wish that everybody could get in on that plus 270, because that was the hammer of all hammers. And when I put it in the doc, it was supposed to be plus 270, but I'll take plus 140 for Lane Riggs as a top 5 truck.
That's why you got to be in the Discord, Rod. Boji Joe agrees, said Riggs will win trucks next year. Anyone agree? Well, I meant to click on this one first, but he said, how do you not jump on Riggs, which I completely agree with. Riggs will win the trucks next year. Anyone agree? Corey Heim is back, but he's definitely going to be a factor. I don't think there's a hotter driver in the truck series right now than Lane Riggs. He's been tearing it up lately. And yeah, he's looked really, really solid. I would have played this if you had not played it. So this was one of the top 5s that I did like that was already taken by the time I got here. So shout out to you, Rod. But yeah, Lane Riggs on fire lately. This is what we thought we were going to get from him. It's exciting seeing it now. I don't know if it's confirmed that he's back next year. I can't remember it now. We'll dig into that more, obviously, as we get into the off season. But I think he'll be back in this truck, and I think it's going to be a strong season for him.
Yep. Again, would have loved it more at plus 270, but I'll still take it at plus 140, and we'll cash it nonetheless, and you'll be happy that you did. So, all right. Speaking of BetUS giving us fantastic numbers, we're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with a business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are always welcome. BetUS is live now with Trick or Treat on Horror Street. From now until Halloween, BetUS will be offering daily promotions and a raffle entry to win a sports or casino prize pack that they will give away on October the 31st. You can enter multiple times because every $200 deposit gets you one entry. Just gave you a couple of our favorite bets on BetUS, and we're going to give you even more as the show goes on. So hang tight for those. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN. They got to know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels with the ability to build custom predictive models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me. Rhythm is going to give you predictions for every game and player prop, and has a ton and a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Not to mention Rhythm's NBA models now live. Might interest some of you out there. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Where do we go from Lane Riggs' top 5, Cody?
We're going back to Stuart Friesen, Rod. Mentioned this already a little bit earlier, but officially Stuart Friesen top 5, 6-1, Rod. What are we doing? 6th place last season, 1 spot outside of that top 5, 3rd place 2 years ago. And like I mentioned, 4 top 7s in the last 6 races, and you're getting him at 6-1 odds. Again, this is our opportunity to sort of pounce on Friesen while they're not really expecting it. And then it's going to come up during the broadcast like, oh, he's had this rough season, and look how good he's doing here today. And you're going to say to yourself, well, we knew he was going to be here. He was going to be good here today. But yeah, I'm all over Stuart Friesen this week. And I think this number is just like I mentioned before he even was out. I could tell based on where his outright was roughly where his top 5 number was going to be. And I knew I was going to want to be on it because all the research just shows Stuart Friesen is pretty good at this track. This is what suits him. I think that dirt driver angle is really going to come into play this week. So love me some Stuart Friesen, Rod. And it's 6-1 number. Like if Stuart Friesen just comes out and craps the bed and finishes in 25th, like, okay, it is what it is. But at 6-1, he's got the ability and the capability of getting this done. So JDK calling me sharp. I think he might be joking, but it's okay. And Boji Joe wants to know if he drives an even number. Stuart Friesen is in the 52 truck, Rod, which I believe is even.
It is divisible by 2, therefore making it even. So, yeah, I definitely like that as well. Boji Joe also wanting to know, is BetUS based in the BetUSA? It is, in fact, based in the USA. So that's a good call there, Boji Joe, by picking up on which US we're talking about. All right. I'm going to turn my attention to this is where I wish we had top 10s. If you're tired of me saying that, then give us top 10s for God's sakes, and I'll stop saying it. But Daniel Dye, top 5, 1,500 plus 1,500, so 15-1 over on BetUS. That is a fantastic number because I looked it up and it wasn't 15-1 on another book, and I'm not even going to mention that book and give it the breath because BetUS gave us a fantastic number on Daniel Dye as a top 10 or top 5 truck rather for this particular race. Look, again, like I said, I wish there was top 5s. I really do. But Daniel Dye has been very, very close to finishing inside of the top 5, especially on Kansas where he was 9th place. He came ever so close at Texas where he was 6th place. Didn't come anywhere near it in Vegas, but he did start 9th before finishing 24th. So again, these mile and a half that we've been on, a 19th place finish at Charlotte, so not very good there, but second at Nashville, 8th at Richmond, 8th at Milwaukee. He just finished 3rd at Talladega. Daniel Dye, man, that good camera operator on that truck is, Michael Waltrip's son. He's a good driver. He's a good kid. Like you said, you talked about it a couple times before. He did shave his hair, and not good. The Samson coif is gone. He's back to being mortal again. But I think mortal for him, there's still top 5 upside for a guy like Daniel Dye. If he could just stay in the lead pack, run with the Enfingers, run with the Heims, run with the Eckeses, he's got the talent to stay around that area. And who knows if something crazy happens in this particular race and all of a sudden those 4 drivers get collected in some crazy nonsense. Daniel Dye's right there, still good enough for a top 5 finish, even if he doesn't win. So, yeah, I mean, if this were a top 10 at 700, I'd be all over this for sure.
Yes.
But
that would be the bet to have for sure. But since top 5's all we have, I think at this number, you get a really good number. We've seen the upside that he's got. His McAnally Hilgeman trucks are fast. We've talked about Dye all year and his steady progression to getting better. And so, yeah, I fully endorse this one with you. JDK was saying that he does love the Stuart Friesen bet. Thank you, JDK. I appreciate that. Also says he likes Crafton top 5, 15-1. Curry top 5, 20-1. Crafton, spoiler alert, I will be talking about him on the DFS show tomorrow. I could definitely get down on the top 5 for him. Curry, I could see why maybe you would like it. I don't know. Laura wants to know why there's no top 10s in trucks, Rod. Do you have an answer for that question?
Well, you see, Laura, that when you are creating odds, you're spending a ton of time in doing so, and therefore books probably don't want to pay people the extra time it takes to come up with top 10 odds, even though I probably would think that it's less time than you would think. But
that's the wrong answer, Rod. Do you just see how big those casinos are, Laura? They build those big casinos by making money off of us.
Yeah.
If they offered top 10s in the truck series, they wouldn't make any money. And so, yeah, they're trying to keep nice, big, fancy casinos.
Okay. That's better than what I gave you. I think that's a good answer.
But yeah, I don't, that's the more fun answer, but I really don't understand why. I'm hoping that we can get it expanded, especially in like Xfinity. Why do we not have it in Xfinity at least by now, Rod? But it should be in Xfinity and trucks. I mean, I don't know that we would get the greatest of odds always. That might be something we'd have to navigate, but to have the option and be able to get a selection and try and figure out how to navigate it, I would really like. So hopefully the books are listening. Hopefully they'll get it for us next year. Your brother checking in says, I actually really like Daniel Dye. I don't know why, but I won't chant go, Dye, go. Just sounds wrong.
Listen, that'd be a fun, right? You're sitting in the bleachers like, go, Dye, go, Dye, go.
Or Dye, 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 Dye. They're like, what are you doing? Like, no, it's Dye. Like, I'm rooting for Dye. Come on.
Duh.
Like TK says, top 10's too consistent, so too risky, even at low odds. Yeah. Maybe we'll get it someday, Rod. Maybe we won't. Something we do get, though, top Chevy bet. This is where, so Connor Zilich is in this race, Rod, and he is going to be in that 75 Henderson truck, right? We mentioned that it is a Chevy truck. Of course, he's a Chevy driver, Trackhouse driver, and all of that. This is where I want to get in on Zilich. So you could get him at like 25-1 to win. At some places he's dropped to like 12-1. I think there's still maybe some 20s out there. If you want to take it, fine. I get it, right? It is what it is. But here's my thinking here. Top Chevy's a market that I like. You're getting him at 9-1, which I think is a pretty good number. So if you look at Chevy, this allows, Corey Heim to go do his thing and dominate this race. Ben Rhodes wins. These other guys win, right? So in the Chevy market, you've got Eckes. He should be strong. You got Enfinger. I think he'll be strong as well. Those are the two guys you're going to be most worried about, right? They're going to be able to do their damage, both be alive to win this race, but maybe something goes wrong. Maybe something happens to them. Nick Sanchez, I don't like him as much this week. Honeycutt, you already kind of talked about against him. Caruth, we're going to circle back to that in a minute, so we'll come back there. But then it's Zilich is the next guy. Then it's Ankrum, Mosak, Sutton. Like, these guys don't worry you as much. So maybe Eckes and Finger have an issue. Maybe they're just not quite as good on the day. Zilich has the talent, and that's what this is all about. He's the next kid, right? We talked about him yesterday, and of course he's in the 88 car in Xfinity Series. We talked about Xfinity's different than trucks. I love him to win the Xfinity Series race at the number he's at because of the talent, because of the car, because of the series. The Truck Series, I don't think it's as cut and dry there, but I think that because he's so fucking talented, he could come out and win this race or be the top finishing Chevy. And at 9-1, I will take those odds. His 2 Xfinity Series starts, he wins Watkins Glen, finishes 4th at Kansas. So great runs by him there, of course. Truck Series, it's been a little more rough, right? Coda comes out, wins the pole, wrecks in turn 1, fights all the way back, finishes in 4th, but then 29th at Richmond, 19th at Bristol, 33rd at Talladega. My other thought on these, and maybe this could be argued for Willem Swalich, as I argued against him earlier, but you could argue it, right? Short tracks, right? At Richmond, there's a lot more beating and banging, a lot more roughness going on. Bristol and Talladega is just a super speedway, so throw it out. It is what it is, right? But now you got a bigger track, some skills going to be involved. These trucks are going to be all over the place. Zilich's the type of kid that can overcome all of that and get it done. So this is the way to get in on Zilich while getting a good number. His top 5 number was only, gosh, what was his top 5, right? I think it was only
It wasn't good.
3-1. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, then obviously if he finishes in the top 5 and isn't the top Chevy, you're missing out. But good chance if he finishes in the top 5, he's going to have a shot at being the top finishing Chevy. I'll take that for the extra 6 points, getting it up to 9-1. And so, yeah, I'm in on Zilich. I'm not like overly in on him, like, oh, we got to run, a truck lift, and I want to bet him on all these stuff and put a bunch of money on him because it's the Truck Series, it's a 75 truck, but the talent of the kid is strong enough that at the number, I think this is a good bet. So give me Connor Zilich in that 75 truck for Henderson to be the top finishing Chevy at 9-1.
And this series isn't like the Xfinity and the Cup Series where the Chevy has like a ton of heavy hitters. There's more Chevys. There's obviously way more opportunities for someone else to grab this. However, when you start talking about the Heims of the world, when you start talking about the Majeskis and the Craftons and the Rhodes, all these Fords, all these Toyotas, that's where the what do you call those things? The dial flips.
Yes, that sounds
Can you
good.
tell? Can you tell?
I think that's what you were going for.
This is my first year speaking English. I hope you guys understand that I'm getting there. But yeah, no, listen, there's a lot more opportunity. But yes, he is one of the stronger drivers in this field right now, so I will give it to him. Speaking of Fords, speaking of pianos, it's your guys' favorite time. It is the Billy Joel Hour here on the NASCAR Gambling Podcast Truck Series, where we talk about the piano man, Ty Majeski. It's hard to bet him. Okay. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of, you don't need the money at the end of the day. But if it pays off, it pays off for you. And I'm going to take Majeski as a top 3 truck because this is the only way that makes sense other than what I'm going to tell you in a little bit, because, and you go light, obviously, because you don't want to, go completely too heavy. But Ty Majeski has won on this track before. He has won in 2022. He did start 4th and finish 9th in the 2023 race, where he did lead a lap. Where it gets hairy is when you start looking back through his finishes in the Truck Series on 1.5 miles. Las Vegas earlier this season, he started 6th and ended up finishing in 10th. Texas, another 10th place finish after starting 11th. Kansas, he started in the outside pole. You're thinking, let's go to the DVP. Yep, he got crashed out of that race, did not get his truck fixed. Finished in 33rd. Pianos falling from the sky all over the place. Cats laying with dogs. It was just madness. But listen, there's been some respectable finishes for young Ty Majeski over the last few races, right? He finished 4th at Gateway, 9th at Nashville. Pocono, he must have slept in because he finished 31st. And then IRP, he won. Richmond, he won. Milwaukee, he finished 2nd. Bristol, 8th. Kansas started on the pole, led 51 laps. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yep, that's a piano playing Beethoven. Yeah, it was over. So, and then he started.
Are you making a case for him or against him, Rod?
Yes. But we know this. We know how topsy-turvy Ty Majeski can be. I think that this is the fact that he's been able to put together a nice solid run, even though it's been 6 years since we've seen them on the track. The 4 races that he's had good solid top 10 finishes and a couple of wins. Maybe we are seeing Ty Majeski again, right? He cannot throw out Talladega because it's Talladega. So I'm on him as a top 3 truck at plus 180, and I'm saying my prayer, and I am getting rid of all the piano apps that I have on my phone in the meantime.
Let's see. We could call it Grandmaster's Piano or Steinway Piano Gallery if we want to find some pianos in the Homestead-Miami area, Rod.
Steinway. We'll go with Steinway. They're much better. Much better.
Absolutely not betting on Ty Majeski. No, thank you.
That's okay. You're fine. My brother saying perhaps you're looking for the pendulum swings. Yes, brother.
Yeah.
Always the wordsmith as well.
That's probably what you're looking for.
Yeah. My brother's
Boji Joe was. Well, you're quite the wordsmith, Rod. So it runs in the family, I guess. I am not. I struggle with words. So, yeah, I'm not of much help there. Boji Joe was asking about Henderson. Who is Henderson? They've actually been around for a long time. This team started in 1982. They've run 425 races between the Cup, Xfinity Truck Series, one ARCA race, I guess, in there as well. But they have 24 Cup Series starts, 298 Xfinity Series starts, 102 Truck Series starts. They've actually won 5 races, 3 Xfinity Series races, 2 Truck Series races. Most recently, Parker Kligerman won at Mid-Ohio a couple of years ago in an epic duel with Zane Smith. So yeah, it's a solid team that's been around a long time and in the sport. And again, like they sort of pick and choose their drivers. So, Kligerman had been the guy for a little while. Stephen Parsons this season, which his family goes back in the history, right? Phil, obviously, and Benny racing back in the day. But yeah, they just pick and choose tracks, and it's like, okay, we're going to go here, and they bring a full effort when they do go to a track. So it's not a team that it's like, oh boy, who is this team? Like they are a decent team. So wanted to point that out. All right, Rod, I'm going to stick in the top Chevy market, actually. So everything said about why you would want to bet on a top Chevy, I'm also going to apply to Raja Caruth at plus 550. So I have Connor Zolich already at 9-1. I'm also going to take Caruth here at plus 550. I love Caruth this weekend. I wanted to be on Caruth a little more than I am, Rod, but somebody got in the dock and took all the Caruth bets from me. But I do fully endorse those. 8th place in one career Truck Series start here last season, Rod. Good finish. Of course, if we remember, that was with GMS. Yeah, big, strong, steady team, but they were closing the doors, right? They only had 3 races left. He wasn't in the playoffs like a Grant Enfinger was, but still 8th place finish, strong run there. 7th place at Kansas not too long ago. That 80-1 victory at Las Vegas, Rod, does that remind you of anything? So he won that. We cashed the 80-1 for him to win. Then the odds dropped, right? And they were shit. They were horrible. Now they're creeping back up a little, and they're starting to fall back asleep. This is when you jump on and snatch it, Rod. But Raja Caruth is sort of on a hot streak here lately. 4th place at Dega. It's a super speedway, but hey, good finish. 7th place at Kansas, 3rd at Bristol. Those are the last 3 races this season for the Truck Series. So he's been running pretty hot here lately. Top 10 in 6 of the last 8 races. He's going to be up near the front. He's been good at 1.5 miles. Races like last year at Homestead-Miami are the reason that when we got turned around and got to Vegas in March or February, whenever it was, that we bet on him 80-1 because of the stuff we saw at these types of races. He could bring it back, I think, and to be the top finishing Chevy, plus 550 again. Top 5 number was a little, couldn't quite do the top 5 number. How else do you get on him where a good number is? And I think top Chevy's the way at plus 550.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, because I have already taken him once, I'm going to be taking him again. I cannot argue with you because if he does what I think he's going to do, he will be the top Chevy, and we'll all be happy for Raja Caruth.
Also, going back to DK, he did point out that Ty Majeski was fast at Las Vegas. I didn't want to forget about that in the spring, Rod. So I know it was you talking this time, but we don't want to piss that one guy off. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But hey, guess what? The piano fell out of the sky, and he didn't finish good. So.
Yep. But I'm on him this week, so you can't be mad at me for that. I'm definitely on him. In fact, I'm so on him that I am going to take my winning truck number over 30.5. I know. You guys are all But
Oh,
Heim's
you get
the
Connor Zilic in this. I guess that's good.
you get Connor Zilic, you get Ben Rhodes, you get Ty Majeski, you get Matt Crafton on accident, you got Raja Caruth, you get Stuart Friesen. If Stuart Friesen wins this race, you get Caden Honeycutt.
Now we're talking.
You get Caden Honeycutt, where we talked about he's been a top 4 truck. If he ends up winning, you're not mad because you didn't get him in the head-to-head because you get him a plus money for this one too. You get Daniel Dye, who we just talked about is a perennial top 10 thing. You get Lane Riggs, who could very easily win this race. So there's a lot of great trucks that are over 30. And for the other half of this to be at minus money, like you just bet their outrights and you're fine. I mean, you can't. Grant Enfinger, Heim, and Eckes. Those are the 3 guys that if you're going to bet like underneath that number, you might as well just bet underneath that number at plus money and be happy when you hit, because at Corey Heim, you're not even getting a much better number for that anyways. And we'll talk about that in a second, but under 30 plus at plus 170, you're almost getting 2-1 for a very, very heavy section of the entry list. So I like that. And then I'm going to double down on over 18.5 at minus 130, because that actually opens up a much bigger array of folks for you, because it gives you Christian Eckes in that. It kind of opens Christian Eckes up for you, and Tyler Ankrum too. Or no, Tyler Ankrum is under the 18.5 rod. When it goes over, it goes over. No, so it gives you Christian Eckes, kind of opens up into that one as well. So there's that huge swath plus Christian Eckes at minus 130. So I like both of those. You got lost in the sauce. It's the winning truck number 30 or more at plus 170, and then over 18.5 at minus 130.
Sorry, Rod. What number does Corey Heim drive?
Not any one of those. So
okay. So apologize for your losses, but Corey Heim's going to win this race. Plus 160, Rod. It's not super sexy, but it's Corey Heim on an intermediate track, and he will dominate. And he's going to be the fastest truck, barring a piano falling out of the sky and landing on him. It's all about Corey Heim this weekend. 5th place here in 2022 in his first start. Last season, Rod led 57 laps, swept the stages, settled for 3rd place, but 3rd, first place this year. He won Kansas, led 64 laps there. He led 65 laps at Bristol, where he finished 2nd. He won Pocono. He led 72 laps at Charlotte. So Kansas, he led 69. Charlotte, he led 72. Those are your recent 1.5 miles in the Truck Series. And Charlotte, he finished top 5 there, was DQ'd, so technically it shows 36th on the charts, but DQ was for loose lug nuts, which is not affecting his performance. He won the Kansas 1 race where he led 79 laps, 2nd place at Texas, 3rd place at Vegas in the spring. Corey Heim is going to be in the mix at the end of the day at plus 160. It's not overly sexy. And you might be thinking, well, you always say you can't bet Kyle Larson at such a big number, but Rod, how many people have won in the Truck Series this season, or in the Cup Series this season? We're at, 18 winners. There's 24 guys that could win really on any given week. Well, in the Truck Series, we've had a handful of different winners, but you take out the Cup guys that can't run now, and how many guys could actually win this weekend? Probably not many. Heim's clearly the best of them. Obviously, Eckes is the one that you think is the biggest threat. He's not been super great here at this track. That's why I'm not really on him. So yeah, it's all about Corey Heim this week. Plus 160, not the greatest of numbers, but take it. And then you play some insurance plays, Rod, because it's always good to have insurance. And Grant Enfinger is one of those insurance plays. 12-1 for Grant Enfinger. Again, fading Joey Logano in the Cup Series because he's already locked in. They got to focus on Phoenix. It's different for Grant Enfinger because the Truck Series, not that there's less to prepare for, but I don't know. It's different. And, oh, yeah, he's already been locked in for 3 weeks. Like, they've had time to prepare for it and still prepare for this race. So I'm not worried about that. And Enfinger, there's nothing to worry about. They don't have to worry about points. They don't have to worry about keeping it clean. Go out there, rip the fence, win this race. I think Enfinger can do it. 4th place last season, has a 2nd place here a couple of years ago. 4 top 10 finishes in the last 6 races here at Homestead. In the last 8 races this season, Rod, he has 4 top 5 finishes. So he's been on kind of a hot tear here lately. Obviously, he won last time we were out at Talladega. So yeah, I think it's 12-1 for a guy that doesn't have any pressure. Things are going great for him right now. He's in a fast truck. They've figured stuff out. Give me Corey Heim. Or, yeah, give me Corey Heim also. But give me Grant Enfinger at 12-1. And, Rod, beep, 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 beep. We're riding that Stuart Friesen truck lift 40-1. Come on, if I'm all in on Stuart Friesen this week, I'm all in. 40-1. He hasn't won this season. But would you be overly shocked if Stuart Friesen came out and won this race? I don't think so. And at 40-1, with as good as he's been here, he is a capable of doing it driver. Again, doesn't have the playoff pressure, none of that stuff. Can just go out and get it done. So I do think it's Corey Heim time once again, Rod. But Enfinger, free, good insurance plays to have. And yeah, those are my winners.
If Stuart Friesen ends up winning, I will find a way to Uber Eats you the ingredients for some poutine, because you will definitely be a full-fledged Canadian. Maybe I'll even throw in some maple syrup in there, some hockey sticks, and some Tim Hortons. I'll throw some Timbits in there. So
everything Canadian.
Yeah, you will.
Give me some Molson beer too, if you will, Rod.
Oh yes, definitely some Molson. I love.
Boji Joe says, "Give us a truck lift, Rod." Cody, well, I just gave you a truck lift, Boji. It's Stuart Friesen. Matchup, top 5, win the race. There's your truck lift.
Well, and so here's the thing too with my truck lift.
Yeah, and this is our combined truck lift here.
Yeah, I will take Majeski as my winner at 7-1 over on
that's
Caesars.
not the combined truck lift, for the record.
Well, no, that's not.
I want nothing to do with Majeski.
But this is sort of a truck lift because I gave him as a top 3. So I guess this is a mini lift. This is when you need a change your tire on your bike and you just have a little mini lift, even though you don't need a lift for your bike. I don't know. I'd never change bike tires.
Like you're just jacking the truck up, basically.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, so Ty Majeski 7-1 to win the race. We already talked about it. It to me, this is either he's a top 3 truck and a winner, or he's not gonna be a finisher, right? This is how this works. He's either gonna win this race or he's probably just not gonna finish. So top 3 will cash. The win will cash.
Tell me again why you bet his top 3. Oh, because he's winning.
Because he's winning, and that's your top 3 right there. So you might as well double down on that one as well, because his top 5 number was kind of garbage. But yeah, he's either winning or he's not. So give me Majeski at 7-1, and then Raja Karuth. This is our double lift, right? This is the combined lift for Raja Karuth. 22-1 for him to win this race. I talked about that he won Vegas. Like I feel like this is a Raja Karuth week. Like you said, the books are kind of falling asleep again because Raja Karuth has not necessarily been on a tear, but he still has enough speed and he still has enough talent to hang with the leaders. He's been doing it for the last few weeks, and I think that continues. And I think Raja Karuth at 22-1 is a decent enough look this week to win this race.
Yeah, I love the Caruth play. If you didn't have Caruth in here, I would have had him. It's not the 80-1 we got at Vegas, but 22-1 for a guy who's already got an intermediate track this week. Wow, that just erased that sentence from your memory. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Who's already got an intermediate win this season is what I was going for, Rod. Yeah, I really like this on Caruth.
I want people to understand that at this point in the season, like, we are stretching the fuel tank. We are Joey Logano right now. We don't know. Our crew chief keeps telling us that we got to come into pit because we only
could run out at any time, Rod. The suspense is real.
Don't know when.
I think it just stumbled and I switched to the reserve tank.
Before you know it, we're going to be on the apron just trying to coast this thing into the final race of the year. So hang with us, man. If you've been along with us for the ride since February, God bless you, first and foremost. But second of all, just it's a long season.
It is a long season, but we love doing it, Rod. All right, so we recap for the folks, and then we'll get our fantasy picks in.
Yeah, indeed. Let's do that. Get your pen and paper out. We're going to go over the picks for this Baptist Health 200. And, of course, for those of you watching on the YouTube, it is screenshot time as we break down our bets for this race. Cody started you off with Stewart, our favorite Canadian, Friesen over William Sawalich at -110. I gave you Raja Karuth over Caden Honeycutt at -110 as well. Cody gave you Ben Rhodes as a top 5 truck at 4-1. I said that Lane Riggs would be a top 5 truck. Damn it. I didn't change it. It's at +140 over on BetUS. Unfortunately, sorry for those of you watching. The graphic was made before the change was made. So
that's just another reminder. Be in the Discord, Rod.
Be in the Discord. Cody gave you Stuart Friesen as a top 5 truck at 6-1. I said Daniel Dye would be a top 5 truck at 15-1, not 900. Again, that was another update brought to our friends at BetUS. So make sure you, when you screenshot it, take your little marker tool and scratch off for plus 1,500 for that. Cody gave you Connor Zilic as the top Chevy at 9-1. I said Ty Majeski would be a top 3 truck at plus 180. Cody gave you Raja Karuth as the top Chevy at plus 550. I said that the winning truck would be 30 or more at plus 170 and over 18.5 at minus 130. Cody said it's Heim time once again at plus 160. Grant Enfinger at 12-1. Stuart Friesen at 40-1. Where the hell did Sam Mayer get in there? Sam Mayer is not in this.
Boy, who copied and pasted this from the Xfinity Series graphic?
Once again, I want to remind you that our fuel tank, we don't know when it's going to run empty. We just know that the light is on.
Hey, just be happy you're getting a graphic, okay? It's not necessarily always going to be correct, but you're getting one.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, you guys could put it together for the best of it. And if you don't, let's see, this is why you just download and listen. You don't have to worry about getting wrong information on the graphic.
And like TK say, odds often change from the graphic at least a bit. And by the time you listen to this, too, if you're not listening live and placing it right now, I mean, sometimes the lines move while we're recording the show even. So, just that's how it goes. But all right, Rod, things did not go well for us last time out in the driver group game. Again, this is in competition with our buddies over at the NASCAR Betting Preview Show, Derek and Phil. Make sure you check them out. They're the other Truck Series podcast that's out there. I would imagine their pod will be out probably by tomorrow morning. They beat us by 214 points at Talladega, Rod. We kicked their ass in the regular season, but we decided to reset everything for the playoffs. That was a horrible decision on our part, but that's okay. We're going to batten down the hatches, and we are coming for them now, Rod. All right, we need an A driver. Corey Heim, Ty Majeski, or Christian Eckes.
How many starts do we have left with Heim? We can't get cute anymore.
We have enough with all of them, so it's good.
Yeah,
we have 3 starts left with Heim. Okay. I think, we don't get cute. We play Heim and hope that they get cute. Group B starter, Rod, we need 2 of these guys. Got Daniel Dye, Dean Thompson, Grant Enfinger. So Enfinger, we only have 1 start left, so I'd maybe say we wait for Phoenix for him, which is sort of unfortunate. But Riggs is in here. That's an interesting one. Stewie's in this one, Rod. The Gray brothers, Timmy Hill, Tyler Ankrum, all our options. So we need 2 of these guys.
Well, if we like Daniel Dye,
I'd be fine with Daniel Dye. And then what about
different there from them?
So either how far out on the Stuart Friesen limb do we want to go, or
I guess
Riggs?
How many do we have on Riggs?
We got 4, so we're good. Right. And and I'm trying to think what they'll do too.
Oh, they'll probably do Riggs. So we may need to do Friesen.
But will they? Because Riggs they're kind of like us with Riggs on the short track thing. So this is what's great to listen to their show too. I'll be interested to see if they're like us. Like we've always been Riggs on the short tracks, not on the big tracks, similar to them. We've now adjusted and said Lane is obviously on a hot streak. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see if they stick with it. I think we play Lane though, because I think we ride the hot streak. And if they do, they do. But if they don't, maybe we get an up on them there.
Okay, then let's do that then.
Okay, so it will be then we need to C driver. We need a C driver, Rod. We got Bailey Curry, Connor Jones, Andretti, Caruth, Boyd, and Sawalich.
It's got to be Caruth then.
Got to be Caruth. We only have 2 starts left, but I think you use one of them here because it's Caruth on 1.5 miles, which is where we want to use them. All right, beautiful. I think we did it. So it'll be Heim, Dye, Riggs, Caruth. That is our driver group team entry. Make sure you go check out the NASCAR Betting Preview Show and their Truck Series episode.
Oof, man, yeah, that's going to be fun to listen to them as well, talk this through, because this was not a tough slate, but a tough slate. Laura wants to know who's anytime TD for tonight's game. I'll tell you.
Kyron Williams, minus 500.
Well, yeah, but how about Aaron Jones plus 550 for a first touchdown of the game? Vikings have scored the first touchdown in every single game this season. Aaron Jones has scored 2 of those. And it's the Rams giving up a ton of rushing yards.
This game is going to be so exciting. Puka and Kupp are both in. Sounds like Hawkinson's not going to play, but This game is going to be really exciting, Rod. It should be a thriller on a Thursday night. I have a game preview, by the way, up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Don't worry about you, Joe. I have the right odds actually in that article, unlike the other one. But shit happens. So go check it out if you want my favorite plays. And I got my favorite prop in there and game pick as well.
Indeed. You know, the thing about it too is when you crank out as much content as everybody in this space does, you are bound to get your eyes bleeding from time to time. I don't think folks
sometimes you hit the plus button instead of the minus, and it happens.
Well, listen, I'm just telling you, it's like anytime you're looking at stats and enough stats over the course of the day, it starts to, and you click on the wrong tab and it's getting late or it's early in the morning and your first cup of coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
I might have published that article at about 12:45 this morning. So
see what I'm saying?
That could be part of the problem too, but
it's the grind.
And I know you know about you, Joe. I know you were just poking fun. I'm poking fun too, because shit happens. So it's all good. You got the point. You read it. You knew what I meant.
Indeed. All right, Cody. Well, before our eyes bleed anymore, let's go ahead and get out the door and let everybody start setting their card before the lines shift on them too much and books catch up to what they're doing.
Exactly. Rod, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Well, you don't have to. You already have, but everybody else can at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff there. Ton of NFL stuff. Bunch of game previews I'm doing for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. So make sure you check those out. F1 article, NASCAR article, whatever else they'll let me write. I think I have a college football pick in the email this week. Make sure you're signed up for the email alerts. Whatever they ask me to do, Rod, I'm all about it. Share it all over there. And then, we'll see you guys tomorrow. DFS show. We're going to talk all 3 series. Get some underdog picks for the Cup Series as well. That'll be out early in the AM for you, so it's ready to go for your weekend. Best of luck at Homestead. Let's go trucking, and see you guys tomorrow.
Indeed. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in about everything I got going on. I'm like Chaucer from A Knight's Tale. You give me a penny, I'll scribble you anything you want, and it's all there out there on my Twitter. So check that all out. We will see you tomorrow with the DFS episode for Miami and then the recap show the following week. We love each and every one of you for joining us. Go make sure that you toss that 5-star review out for us as well. And to those of you who don't put 5 stars out there, still love you anyways. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.